I'm going to show you how to easily use TradingView, even if you're a beginner, to set up a very cool analysis that you won't see anywhere else on crypto YouTube or crypto Twitter, so that you can get this next move right. Because Bitcoin is at a point where it could really go either way, along with traditional markets, with Russia-Ukraine conflict, Fed rate hike possibilities, emergency meeting that they're having today at, actually right now, 11:30 a.m. New York time on Monday, February 12th. So it's going to be very hard to get this move right, but there are a couple of easy lines that I'm going to show you how to put on your chart. So it's going to help you get this move right and be very nimble with whatever you're doing in crypto. You ready? Let's go. It doesn't matter what time frame you're on. However, what you're going to want to do is type in MTF EMA. See where my cursor is? MTF EMA, and you're going to want to click it twice. And once you start looking this up, you might star it so that it's on your list, for future reference. But you're going to need two of those lines. So, and now I'm going to need to move myself here. Now I have two of these over at this direction. I have set one up to be the 1 week 10 EMA. And the other one is set up to be the 4-hour 200 EMA. And in this, my 200s on my channel are typically orange, and my 10 EMAs are red. So therefore, we have two extremely important EMAs. Look, the orange one is the 4-hour 200, which gets a lot of things right in Bitcoin, and obviously so does the weekly 10. Weekly 10 is probably, honestly, it is the most important EMA of all of crypto, and perhaps even traditional markets, arguably. The weekly 21 maybe, but I think the 10 gets I don't know. It may be a tie between the weekly 10 and 21. Anyway, set up those two lines, and you can switch time frames. Watch, you can go to the 30-minute time frame, right? You can go to the 5-minute time frame or the 15-minute, whatever. Look, it doesn't matter. This is going to help you be very, very, very nimble, because based off of, I guess, world potential war relations and war relay, that makes a lot of sense, Tim. Now, global current events mixed with U.S. monetary policy, the stock market's a little spooked. It's this is going to help you judge how the hell Bitcoin is going to react with what's going on in the world outside of crypto. Let me show you a few patterns. Typically, when price wants to get fully above this 10 EMA, it does it with force, and it doesn't come look back. So look at this. The weekly 10 is above the orange line. Let's look in the past when the red is above orange. Therefore, we're not looking at any of this because the orange is above. None of this relates well. A lot of people are using this fractal on Bitcoin to say, hey, it's just like this one. Actually, no, it's not. It is not like this. There are a lot of different indicators that are saying it's not even close to what's happening here. Rather, it's more similar to what happened here. Look how price, if it's going to get above and be bullish, for a bigger move, price zooms above the weekly 10 and then uses it as support. And I'm on the 1-hour time frame. You can really see how it went above with force, did not get rejected by this, and use it as support. Let's go back to other failed attempts to get back above. We're going to have to go back a little bit more in time. I might have to go to the 2-hour or 4-hour here. There, and again, this area doesn't count because the orange is above. I'm not looking at that, right? All right. Here we go. Bitcoin is in a similar boat of what was happening back here in April 2020. It played around both of these lines, and when it finally got above the weekly 10, look at that candle. Look, do you think it's a coincidence that, twice in a row now, under these circumstances, the large candles happened exactly as price went above the weekly 10? No. That is what you're going to be looking for. If price doesn't do anything similar, it's probably going to do this, then roll over. Probably going to do this, then roll over if you don't see velocity. I'm telling you, that's typically how it goes. Could it do something to this effect and then scream up? Yes, but historically that's not. It usually accumulates under it and zooms above it with force and volume, and that is the sign you're looking for. And if you don't, here's another one. The red above orange. Look at this big candle. Let's zoom way in. Look. Look at that. That is what you're looking for, to get above the weekly 10. If it doesn't do something like, and see how it perfectly came back down to use it as support? If it just comes up here and hesitates, it's probably going to roll over. So let's look at what price would do under those two cases. Because that's just how price moves when the weekly 10 and 4-hour 200 EMA are involved here. Let's take a quick look. Let's go back to current price. Now check this out. If price were to wick above the 10 and play around there without force, it's not a coincidence that that would also be, kind of a rule of thumb. I'm going to use a projector tool, your 45-degree angle, which is very, very typical of creating lower highs before you then move down. However, what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you what might happen in what time frames, or how many days you would want to wait to see this signal happen if things were to get even more bullish than that. And then I'll show you a case of, perhaps it'll just turn around even before then. So we're going to do 3 price paths here, and I just showed you one, which I didn't dive in too much here. But before we get into all that, make sure you follow me on Twitter, where I give frequent Bitcoin and cryptocurrency updates. And if you want to be able to turn on your camera and microphone and ask me questions directly to my face with your camera and microphone up to 8 times a week, links to the Discord community within the description section of all my videos. And if communities are not your thing because you don't have the time to commit, but you want exclusive content above and beyond what I offer on YouTube, hit the join button right below this video, and another video will pop up describing your options to you. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at these other price paths so you can know what to expect for the whole month of February leading into March, but also be nimble in the short-term time frame. So in this video, we're mixing short-term with mid-term time frames. And as we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, help out your content creator. Me, hey, hello, that's me. Yes, returning viewers, you're the most important likes I have to help out the algo. And leave me a quick comment down below, even if it's a simple period without the tampon, or if you want to participate in our little challenge this month, is leave me the funniest random comment. I have a couple of them that could be pretty good winners for this month. And if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell and select all alerts. Let's dive back in. That is one very likely price path, and you can see the weekly 10 will be in that. See how the weekly 10 also goes in that projector tool, and that would be very similar to the multiple cases I just showed you where price barely gets above without that velocity, and then heads right back down. You see that? And then finally the CME gap, even though I'm not on the CME chart, you can't see it on this chart, but the CME gap, which has an extremely high likelihood of being filled. It's going to be filled, and it likely is going to be filled this week, but it's down here, and that would bring price into this black triangle from my previous Bitcoin analyses. You can check those out from last week. I might link you to one at the end of this video. So that's one price path that I'm looking for. Also, price could simply, from a structural standpoint, it could have trouble getting over the previous wick high of February 12th from a structural standpoint. If you see Bitcoin having trouble getting above that, well, then it's probably going to come, it's going to roll over faster. So that would be another price path, is something more to this effect, where you have a little trouble getting above, maybe try it twice, who knows, something to this effect where you play around and then it heads down. You can get a price path like that. Focus. So if it's going to come up short of the weekly 10, which is possible, I'm not guaranteeing, obviously, that price is going to hit this. However, right now it looks pretty likely. But if it's going to turn around faster, you're going to see from a structural standpoint, it's going to have trouble getting over 43K. This line right here is 43K. It's the previous local 1 hour high. And I believe even on a daily standpoint, it might be a daily local high. No, it is not. Nope, it's on the shorter term time frames. So it's a lower term time frame local high, and Bitcoin has a strong chance of having trouble getting over that. So until it's over that, it doesn't look like it's going to go all the way up into the channel and tag that weekly 10, which will float into here. That's the second price path. However, now let's take a look at what would happen, but the timing of this, if things are going to flip bullish, even though right now, I don't know, each of these cases are kind of equal. This is why I'm showing you exact tools to look out for. So let me be very clear. Of these 3 price paths, I don't think any of them has a strong edge. The most bullish one, I think, has maybe the least edge, the one I'm getting ready to show you, because that's farther out, right? But the key to this video is I'm showing you exact things to look out for so you can then know what has an edge, because right now nothing has an edge. I cannot express that enough. I know that a lot of folks, a lot of analysts out there are like, oh, it's going to do this. And sometimes I do that too when the trend is strong, right? And sometimes I do it when I shouldn't. And shame on me. I've done that in the past, and I'm trying to get better at that. Or I'm trying to be actually never do that. I've been culpable of that as well. And so hopefully in the future you won't see me doing that. But right now there is no edge. There is no good guess. Can I be any clearer? I'm giving you the tools to figure out when you do have the edge. All right, let's dive back in. Therefore, this red line, let me get rid of some of these. This red line here, if price gets over it, you don't necessarily have an edge as it comes along here and price comes up to it. You don't have an edge necessarily unless you see it spike way above it. Then you'd probably want to wait for a retest and then maybe go long within this. Then you'd have an edge on the on upper time frames. But in general, you're gonna see a lot of floating between the red and orange line. So technically, that could be your range, wicks above and wicks below each potentially, and you could essentially just make money off of playing the range. If it comes back down to the orange, you could play up until here, take profits at the red, and then start taking on shorts at the red, assuming it doesn't just fly above, and then take profits on those shorts down to the orange. You could essentially use red and orange, as I showed you at the beginning, so the weekly 10, the 4-hour 200, as a range. It could just float around here. I'm telling you. But once price breaks below, in terms of edge, below the orange, okay, not just a wick on a 1 hour or anything, but a daily closure above there, then your edge is to the downside, right? If you see price on lower time frames get above the 10 without velocity, I think your edge is also to the downside. But right now it's neither, so you don't have any edge. If price goes above the red line with velocity, your edge is to the upside. I wouldn't chase that green candle. Rather, I'd wait for a retest of that red line on short-term time frames, because I'm on the 1 hour chart. You can see it on the 1 hour chart go way above, come back and test it. Your edge is to the upside. Right now, there is no edge. Therefore, the best play is potentially playing between these lines or just don't trade at all. There is no edge right now. Now, if price were... Let's go to the normal weekly chart here, and I'm going to put on the 10 and 21 EMA. Price this week really has almost no chance of flying, and I'm going to show you why. It's extremely unlikely that this week is super bullish. Now, could it close green? Absolutely, but it's not going to fly this week, and here's why. Bitcoin is below both these, so this yellow line is the weekly 21 and the weekly 10. And again, remember at the beginning of the video where I was, arguing with myself which is the most important EMA in all of crypto? Well, it was between these two. These two are very important. They are the most important. Bitcoin, not only last week closed below the red line, but it went above and got rejected hard. This week is not just going to make up for it and get above both. This week is not going above 46. It might on a wick. I don't want to say it that confidently. It's extremely unlikely, and if it does, it's likely going to come back down and close just above the red. So let me take that back. If price were to come way up here in the 46, 47. It's likely that same week, okay, it's going to happen intra-week, right? So Tuesday through Friday. It's going to come back and close just above the 10. And then if it does close above the 10, okay, so the red line, if this week comes up and closes above the 10, the last week of February, that would be a strong setup to the upside. That would be a weekly closure above this red line could set up a very nice green week, and the last week of February is what could get you into the 50K range. But 50K this week is simply out of play. So you remember when I was on the shorter term time frames with the 4 hour, the orange and red line, and when it got above the red line, it got up with velocity. That's why I'm taking that back. This week, if price were to go above the weekly 10, as I was showing you earlier, with velocity, yeah, it could wick up actually to 46, maybe even 47, but that week would come back down and retest. Remember, it retest that line, and price would close above here, and the next week would be your bullish week. This week could be bullish, but it's going to close, if it is bullish, it's going to close somewhere just above this red line. It's not going to close way up here. I'm telling you, it's extremely, extremely statistically unlikely. But if price on the lower time frames gets up, so I'm the weekly time frame, you can't really see it. If the lower time frames scream above the 10, which it does have the habit, it could come up all the way to 47, but then by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it would close down here, setting up a very, very bullish next week. But you don't want to bet on that happening, being super long right now, because there is no edge on that happening, right? Until it happens. And it happens so fast that you don't necessarily want to chase that candle because it's probably going to come retest it, close above. It sets up a really good entry in a bullish next week. Does that make sense? And that next week could, so let's, if that were to happen, if this week were to close above the weekly 10 EMA, then from a structural standpoint, you'd be looking at price wanting to race up to this area back here, which is around Christmas. And that's about at the 51, 52 level. So you'll probably see Bitcoin the next week after, only if a closure above, okay, only if the week closes above the weekly 10 EMA, then price is going to be attracted to about the 51 to 52K area. Only under those conditions, 51. And that is your third price path. Now, if things do break down here, we're going to probably scratch that price path and the more bullish price path, and then we'll make more bearish price paths. You know, how does it bounce? How high does it go? Or does it just break down? We'll make new price paths. But as of now, I'm sticking with these three price paths because price is smack dab in the middle. It could go, you know, it really could go either way. There is no edge, and these are the three price paths I want you keeping your eye out on, particularly the first two that I showed you. And again, using those indicators, the MTF, so since they're off my chart now, I'm going to click it twice. One, so you see it appearing up here. There's one there. I'm going to click it again. The second one appears. You just go there, bam, inputs. You could click the weekly, click, oh, that's 2 weeks, weekly 10. And you can make it whatever color you want. You know, I'm going to make it red, and I will make the line thicker. And then the 4 hour is orange. I need to put 4 hour 200. And I'm going to make that thicker. And again, these are the two lines you really want to be paying attention to because price is going to play between them. And that's how you're going to be nimble on your feet for all of this week. If you want to see the detailed analysis behind that black triangle in the master origin line where Bitcoin can get a really, really strong macro bounce, click this video here. If you want to learn how to set up a chart just like mine with a 28-minute trading view tutorial that can save your crypto soul, can really make you do a lot better in crypto, click this video right here. And if you're new to my channel, hit subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time. You just got 𝐾𝐢𝐬𝐽𝐻. Peace.